right, testing 1, 2, 3. All right, testing 1, 2, 3. All right. Okay, I think this is working. So in this live stream, we're going to be fixing the ability to drop and pick up the multiple weapons. We're also going to create a master class for the weapons. And by the end, we're going to be adding the bow overlay. What we have so far in the system is the ability to pick up the weapon. So you can pick up the weapon by pressing F. You can holster the weapon by pressing the Q key. You can equip the weapon by pressing the Q key once again. You're able to aim with the pistol. If you're holding the pistol, and if you try to pick up a rifle, for example, you can press F. The character is going to holster the pistol first, and then he's going to be able to hold the rifle, right? As you can see right there. But we have a bug here, because if you drop the rifle, for example, if you press the letter G, the actual weapon that is going to be dropped is the pistol, and we don't want that. So what we need to do first is to get a variable that's going to tell me if I have the rifle in my hand, or if I had the rifle at all, or if I have the rifle holstered. I already have those variables in here. They are, one is called hasRifleHolstered. It's a boolean variable that's going to hold the data regarding, depending if the character has the rifle holstered or not. We have the hasRifleInHand, which is going to tell if the character has the rifle in his hand currently. And if both variables are going to be false, if both variables are false, that means that the character doesn't have the rifle at all. It hasn't picked up the rifle yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to the debugging graph. Or not that, the event graph, actually. And then here we have a function for debugging and printing the strings, basically printing out the current values of the variables, of the most important variables that we need to know. And I want to print out the hasRifle hasRifleInHand and hasRifleHolstered. So I'm basically going to update and duplicate this, the print string. Persona said, big fan, bro. Thanks. Now we're going to basically copy and paste the same name to the append node here. And this append node is going to take the two inputs. The first input is going to be the first text that's going to appear on the same line. And the B is going to be a value that is going to be displayed at the same line after the information of hasRifleHolstered. Like so. And remember, we have to change the key. So this one is going to be 9. We have to follow the order. As you can see, it starts at 1. Now the key, I think the last key is going to be 10. I believe so. And the hasRifleInHand has to be connecting to here. And you also have to change the name. Just don't forget to do that, because it can be pretty confusing if you don't change the name. You're not going to really know which variable is which and why the variable is not changing to true or false. And remember, you have to pin the variable to the pick A so that it updates. The text color is going to update depending if the variable is set to true or false. So if it's set to true, it's going to be green. The text is going to be green. If you set it to false, the text is going to be red. So as you can see, as soon as I pick up the weapon, you're able to see that we have different variables in here. We have the hasRifleHolstered, which is false. hasRifleInHand, it's false. So as soon as we pick up the rifle, as you can see, we still have the haspistol1h in hands, which doesn't have to be, it cannot be set to be true. So I'm going to just change that real quick. So I'm just going to get the variable called hasPistolInHands. And then we're going to set it to true. So we're going to go back to the graph. So just to recap the logic here, for those who are not in the live stream, as soon as you press F, it firstly checks if the character can pick up the weapon. If the character can pick up the weapon, it's going to be true. So it's going to follow this execution here. The next check is going to be for checking if the character is falling or not. If the character is not falling, then we're going to continue. If the character is not doing any traversal action, we're going to continue. We set this variable to be false in here because we have to reset the values. We have to reset the logic for the box trace. So as soon as it runs again, we have to disable this. So here we calculate the reach distance for the blend space to work. And the tag identifier, it identifies which kind of weapon it is based on the tag value that you place in here. If you type tag in the class defaults of the pistol1h blueprint, you're going to be able to see that we have the pistol tag in here. And it pretty much tells which kind of weapon it is. And here it pretty much tells you what kind of weapon it is. So if it's a pistol, we're going to continue in here. If it's not a pistol, then we're going to check if the kind of weapon we're trying to pick up is the rifle. So in case if it is the rifle, we're going to get all existing actors of the class of M401, which is this one right here. We're going to also check for the validation process. If there is at least one rifle in the world, we're going to proceed with the other calculations, with the other code. Here you're going to place a little bit of fit correction, which is this one right here. Let me see if I change the montage, it's going to have a better result. Yeah, of course I have to change also the slot name to be grounded slot. So let's see if that makes the difference. Because in the last live stream I was trying to correct the foot and I was not having good results because of maybe because of the animation, the IK. But yeah, it's not better. So I'm just going to set it back to default slot, and I'm going to do the 45L foot correction, which was the previous one. So let's go back to the weapon pickup drop holster logic. So as soon as we play the foot correction, we block the movement input of the character. And then for the next step, we check if the character has the pistol in his hand. So if in case the character doesn't have the pistol in his hand, we're gonna have to create another execution pattern, execution flow in here. Maybe just wait for 8 milliseconds. So if I try to pick up the rifle right away, yeah, it works. Now the bug is fixed. I think for holstering the pistol, this is a custom event. I think we could do this for basically selecting if you want to block the movement input of the character or not. Because in this case, as we're holding currently we're holding the weapon, the pistol. If we are holding the pistol, in this case, for this custom event, we want to block the movement input so that the character cannot move while picking up the rifle. Let me just simulate this to see if that's the case. So as you can see, you're not able to move the character while you're picking up the rifle as well. As you can see, I'm pressing the movement keys, the movement inputs of the character, and it's not working. So that means it's working. Because if you're not able to move the character, and that's going to prevent a lot of bugs in the future. So that's a very good option I've added here to choose if you want to block the movement input or not. And mainly because I reference this custom event in other parts of the code. So as you can see here, when I holster the pistol alone, if I have the pistol and I pick up the pistol and I press Q to holster it, I don't need to, block the movement of the character only if I want to, right? So as you can see, if I block the movement input when I holster the weapon, the character is going to stop a little bit. So as you can see, stop a little bit. And then now the character is not going to be able to move anymore because let me just see what's happening here. When you holster the weapon, as you can see, it blends out. Notify begin gets to be there. I think we also need to set up a new variable in here. So let's say on the blend out, we're going to disable the block movement input if in case it is still enabled. And we're also going to connect that in here on interrupted. So in case that montage is interrupted, we are going to execute this block montage input, which is going to allow the player to be able to move even if the montage is interrupted. So as soon as you press play, so that way we can finish our execution in here. As you can see, so it's pretty much optional for you to choose if you want to make the character stand as soon as you press hold, as soon as you press the holster key. Yeah, so we can also do other things like these, like this, like these, like this. Prasanna said, from where and how you start to learn UE5, and what is your first project while learning? From where and how? I started learning from YouTube. There was a channel called Matt Asplin. I started watching his YouTube videos, YouTube tutorials to learn UE5, and then I went from there. You're going to be able to see the popular ones, which is this one right here. Animation Blueprint, it was 5 years ago. So I started learning from his YouTube tutorials. And then I started learning on my own by placing my own graphs, seeing what works, what didn't work, and started learning on my own. Oh, my first project was... I'm just trying to find out where it is. It's not actually a project, it's just an attempt of making locomotion systems, but this one was 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago. It was July 13, 2022. I was trying to make a realistic locomotion system from scratch. And as you can see, we had a lot of bugs. What I've done here is just basically implement the crouch systems, run, system, sprint, jump, double jump. It was pretty fun. And this code right here, let me just fix my voice real quick. All right, so this custom event is executed when the character picks up the weapon. So as you can see right here, when you press on play, as soon as your character picks up the weapon, that event is going to be executed. As you can see right there. And in case if you're picking up the pistol, in case if you're picking up the pistol, this code up here is going to be executed. The code on the top is going to be executed, and the code on the bottom is going to be executed if you're picking up the rifle. And as soon as you pick up the rifle, as you can see, the code down below here is going to be executed. And let me just see something here. As soon as it's executed, slow motion, pick up the weapon. And as you can see, if whatever I'm picking up does not have the pistol tag, we're going to get and set the overlay state of the rifle, which is going to allow the upper body of the character to select and play the upper body animations of the character holding the rifle. Nivus the Nasiger said, "Hi bro, love your work. For custom movements, do you animate it by yourself? If you mean by animate, if you mean by making the animations, no. I don't make the animations, I just pick up the animations and modify them inside the Unreal Engine 5. And then I use the animations for making the locomotion systems. That's very much all I do. Now, of course, in the future, I'm going to need animators to make custom animations for me. So if anyone here is an animator, then you can contact me. Maybe we can work in the future. I need animations such as, cover systems. Perhaps there are packs on Fab that are pretty close to what I need. We're gonna have to figure it out together, figure it out alone. So after you pick up the weapon, if it's the rifle, we're going to check if the character has the rifle in his hands. Let me just see what happens when I pick up the rifle. Now when I pick up the pistol first, and then I pick up the rifle. So as you can see, the character is going to be holstering the weapon. And as soon as he holstered the weapon, the variable called hasPistol1H in hands is still true, which means it's not. Which means we have to change it out. So we're gonna have to find out where the holster is. So here is the holster pistol. Let me just see. Oh, okay, here it is. So we have to change as soon as I holster the pistol right there, those events are executed. So all we need to do is just get the has pistol. Just type here, I think it's better. Has pistol in hands. Let me just put this like this. Has pistol in hands to be false. In case if it is interrupted, we're also going to set it to be. Now, in case if it is interrupted, now we have a problem. We have a problem because it cannot be interrupted. Well, I think eventually we're going to have bugs like how, because this animation, when you play an animation montage, it could be interrupted by, you know, other actions. So you have to really pay attention on what you're doing here. But in this case, I'm just going to let it blank. I'm not going to add anything else other than this. But I'm going to add a print string, which is going to alert me of this error. So if I have any bugs related to holstering or equipping a weapon, I'm going to get back to this code and refine it a little bit more, because other montages could be played and this montage could be interrupted. So that's a issue that we could solve. Vintage said, can you put the video in Tamil? Because I love game development, but language. Tamil, what is Tamil? No idea. Tamil language? Which country is that language? India. I have no idea how to set that up. All right. So when I press play now, pick up the pistol, and if I try to get the rifle, has pistol 1H in one hand is still true, but I don't know. Let me just see. Okay. Press and Q. Now pistol has pistol in 1H is false. If I pick it up again, now if I try to pick up the rifle, I'm not sure why the has pistol 1H is true in here. It shouldn't be true. Yeah, I have no idea how to set that up. To set the video in Tamil. I don't know how to do this. Has the pistol tag. Let me just see. I wonder where the has pistol 1H in hands is being set to true. I have no idea where it is. has pistol in has pistol 1H in hand. Let's test it out again. So pick up the rifle. Okay, let me just check for the next one. No, it's not that one. Next one. Set this one. Yeah, this one. So the rifle. It doesn't make sense for the pistol to be in the hand, so I'm just going to disable that. Has pistol holstered. Now the has pistol 1H holstered is true. I'm gonna have to find out where that is. Oh, okay. Yeah, has pistol 1H holstered to be true is correct because the pistol is holstered. And now the rifle is holstered now, which means no, the rifle is in the hand of the character, which means you should update those variables as well. So as soon as you pick up the just going to type here rifle has holstered. So it has rifle holster. You're just going to just see rifle variables. Rifle in hands. So this is the rifle phase, and this is the pistol phase. I'm just going to color them to be green in here, and blue to be in here. Has rifle holstered should be here. Okay, so has rifle in hands has to be true in here. Oh, there you go. So now the states are all good to go. So can pick up weapon is still true, because if you try to pick up another weapon, the character can still hold slots to add new weapons. Let me just print this. I think it's going to be quick. It's going to be better. So the can pick up weapon is true at this current state right here. Play pick up pistol animation is false because the character is not playing any pickup animation of picking up any weapon. The overlay state currently is rifle, which is the one that we're holding right now. We're having in our hands. The block movement input is false because the character cannot move. The weapon detected is false because there is no box trace detection going on in here. Now the found pistol is false because the box trace is not detecting anything right now. The has pistol 1H is holstered is true because the character has now the pistol holstered. The has rifle holstered is false because we're holding a rifle, and has rifle in hands is true because yeah, we have to fix that variable name. This is rifle. Have rifle. Okay. We also have to fix that variable name in the function called debug function. And this is rifle. You also have to fix the name of the boolean variable. Which game inspired you to start this journey? The Last of Us 2 and GTA 5. Regarding the locomotion part. Now if I try to drop the weapon by pressing G, nothing happens, so we're going to find out what is the issue. So in case the character has, let me just see, pick up the pistol, and pick up the rifle, it's going to automatically holster the pistol. Now when I press G, as you can see, this checks which weapon we're currently holding on hands for dropping. So for dropping, firstly we need to know which weapon we're currently holding. So if has pistol 1H is false, it's not going to execute anything. So the character is not going to do anything. Yeah, GTA 5 locomotion is really good, I agree. They use motion matching as well. It's not much really controllable as much as the GASP system, because the GASP system is more of like a Fortnite game. I think the GASP was really inspired into Fortnite locomotion, other than GTA 5 or any other game. So I think the GASP system is a project inspired in the ALS and other third-person shooter games such as Tom Clancy's, maybe. Tom Clancy's, the game I think it's called Tom Clancy's. It has really good locomotion for third person. Tom Clancy Division. So in case the character has the rifle in hands, we're going to do this execution in here. I'm just going to copy and paste this in here. So we're going to change some values. So first we're going to get the rifle reference and get its skeletal mesh. And then just basically change the input pins executions in here. So this is going to be this one. I'm also going to get the box. TC breakpoint is better. Let me just see which one that is. I don't know. TC breakpoint. I've never seen this game actually. Is it this one? I see. Yeah, I've never played this game before.
The characters all better.
That's very good. So as soon as you drop the rifle in this case, we're going to activate the physics, and we're going to set the collision object type to be weapon, so that the rifle can be detectable by the box traces if, in case you want to pick up the rifle again. And we're going to finally detach the skeletal mesh from the character. We're going to simulate the physics, and the overlay state is going to be back to default. I think as soon as we drop the rifle, we can set the overlay state back to default. Of course, we could make a code so that if you have the pistol holstered, and if you pick up, and if you drop the rifle, you're going to automatically go and pick up the rifle that is holstered. Not the rifle, the pistol that is holstered on the character. But yeah, we can also do that, but I'm not going to do that. Just an optional way of doing things. Has pistol 1H in hands. It's going to be, in this case, we're going to still execute those functions, those variables. Actually, you're not going to. Yeah, just let those variables in here, and we're going to get the hasRifle. I'll just type here rifle. hasRifleInHand is going to be false, and hasRifleHolstered also going to be false. And regarding the pistol variables, we also have the hasPistolHolstered, which could also be set to be false. All right, so that we can reset the values. And yeah, let's just try it out. So pick up the pistol first, pick up the rifle, and then we can drop, press the letter G. Let me just check if the values, the states are in place. So we have the rifle in hands, okay. We have the pistol holstered, and we can pick up the weapon, other types of weapons in the ground if we have. Now we're going to press G. All right. So as soon as you press G, as you can see, the pistol is not. I think it's not a good idea to mess with the states of the pistol. I'm just going to delete this part and only worry about the rifle states for now. So when I press play, let's test it again. I'm going to pick up the rifle again. I'm going to drop the rifle. So as you can see now, the state has the pistol 1H holstered, which is true. The character has the pistol holstered. Now if I want, I can press Q so that I can pick up the weapon. So now the states are going to be updated. So we have the has pistol 1H and in hands, which is going to be true. And yeah, that's going to be it. Now, if I want, I can also drop the pistol. But I cannot pick up the pistol again because something happened here. Let me just check it out why. Okay, so I can pick up again, I can drop again, pick it up again. Let me just see what's going on. Rifle. So if I press G, it's going to drop the rifle. If I get the pistol, and if I drop the pistol, I'm not able to pick up the pistol again for some reason. And I have to find out why it is. Because the pistol reference, we get the box out of the pistol reference. And this box, which is this little collision box in here, is attached to the skeletal mesh. So if you move the skeletal mesh, you're also going to move the box. And it serves in the code to represent the location of the pistol for the box trace to detect it. So if it detects the box, it means that it detected the pistol because the box is attached to the pistol, and we're using it just as a reference for the box trace to have a location of where the weapon is. But I'm not sure why it's not working. All right, maybe if you drop it, we can have the collision enabled query in physics. And that could be the issue that we're having. But if you set it to be collision enabled, I think the weapon is going to glitch in the characters with the characters mesh. So as you can see, when you drop the weapon and if you step on it, as you can see, we have that weird collision bug, and it's not good. Okay, so now when I holster the weapon, let me see which changes I make to the collision settings of the pistol. Okay, let me see when I press Q. So here it is. Yeah. So the box. Oh, okay. I see. All right. So I also set the collision enabled to the box as well. Let me see. What is the current default collision for the box? So it's query only. All right. Query only is the default collision setting that we have. Okay, so I think all we need to do in here is just set the collision of the box to be query only. And that's basically everything that we need to do after we drop the pistol. So I'm just going to add that node in here. I think that's the only node that we're missing here for this case, for fixing this bug, that after we drop the weapon, we cannot be able to pick up again. So I'm just going to get the box reference and connect it to here so that we can have the trace to be able to detect the box which represents the location of the pistol. So here I'm going to select query only, no physics collision, because I don't want the box to have actual physical collision with the character or with the pistol collision. And in here, we're going to get the box. And then set it to be query only again as well, as it is in the default state. All right, so let me just check it out to see if it's going to work. Probably it is. If it doesn't, then I don't know what's going on. All right, drop the weapon. Okay, it's working as it was working before. Now when I holster the weapon, and then when I pick it up again, and then I drop it, and I just see if I can be able to pick up again. Yes, I am. So that was the fix for this bug. So if I try to drop the weapon while the weapon is being holstered, I cannot. And the reason why, let me just see what causes that to be happening. And of course, that's not a bug. That's just a... So if I try to press G, it gets to false. So it has pistol 1H is in hands is holstered. So I'm just going to do another check to see. When I press G, it goes for the rifle. If the rifle is in hands, then it's going to drop. Yeah, I think it works that way. If you press G, it's going to pick up whatever weapon the character is currently holding. And if the character is holding the weapon, it could be any weapon, is going to be able to drop it, as it happens on GTA 5. I think in The Last of Us 2, you cannot drop the weapon. You can only find weapons, in the story mode. I'm just trying to pick up the rifle and try to drop it. Okay, dropping. And if I try to pick it up again, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So, okay. It doesn't work. Let me see why. So if you go to the box. All right. Yeah, that's weird. Oops, we have another bug there. So when I press G, I'm able to drop the rifle. If I press G again, it says that the weapon wasn't detected. Let me just see and go to the F key here. So it's not being able to detect. It's not being able to detect the rifle for some reason. Yeah, you can drop and pick up in Uncharted 4, but not sure about The Last of Us 2. Yeah, I think The Last of Us 2 you cannot drop the weapon. The weapon is always in the bag of the main character that you're controlling, or in the holster position. I have no idea what's causing the issue. Let me just try to see something here. Let's just do something instead of just seeing why it doesn't work. Oops. Okay, let me just pick up the rifle first. And then if I press G, it drops the rifle. If I press G again, it doesn't work. Let me just see if it has collision. Okay, the collision is still there. I wish we could have the option to just get the... Okay, let me just see something here. When I pick up the rifle again, let me just see which collision settings I apply to them. So here it is, the pickup. Pickup state. This is a little bit messy. Let me just see something I've done different in here that doesn't work. So this is the pickup rifle phase. And this is the... Alright, so this is going to be right below this. The box is up in here. Let me just make this to be a little bit more organizable. Skeletal mesh. Yeah, it's very much the same. Very much the same code. Yeah, blueprint is so complex that it's hurting my brain. I'm a beginner. Yeah, it happens. Do you have like one part, one single node where you don't understand at all? What do you have like a specific node that you don't understand, or do you don't understand anything? Or maybe it's better to ask, what do you understand from this code? I use ChatGPT to help me code blueprints. Try this. Go to chat. Tell if you need a blueprint created in the logic that you want help with. I'm doing Call of Duty style for mine. Oh, that's great. Yeah, sometimes I get ChatGPT to try to help me solve the bugs that I have, but it doesn't always work. It doesn't always, because it really needs all the context, and as much as complex your code gets, depending on like how complex your code, like what are the dependencies that it requires, that it has, everything gets too much complex, and you have to add like pretty much all the context, what you need to achieve, how you want to achieve things, and you have to specify really everything that you have on the table on your code. Okay, so as soon as I drop the weapon, let me see which code is actually executed here. So when I press G, let me just put this code a little bit up so that we can compare the difference. Only, no physics collision, all right. Just disconnect everything. Maybe this is a bug, a blueprint bug that we have. Get the box. Yeah, sometimes I feel like breaking my computer. I just started with a walk cycle. I'm trying to animate everything by myself. It's for my animation show reel. Oh, that's great. Which program do you use for animating? Do you use Cascador or Blender? Let me know. There's also Maya for animating the characters. All right. Okay, let's see what's going wrong. What's going wrong with the box trace for objects? It's not detecting at all for some reason. There's something going wrong here. Oh, Maya, yeah. Maya. Have you tried using Cascador before? Cascador, I think it's also a good. From what I've seen, they use AI to animate the poses and generate the frames that the AI think it's best to move the character, the best poses. The AI chooses the best poses to move the character. If you generate the first frame and the end frame, the AI can generate the empty gap that needs to fill. Yeah, tried using Cascadeur. It is really good, but something feels off about the character's weight. Interesting. Let me just try to replace this and keep testing things out to see if the order also matters. Let's just try to firstly set the collision enabled first. And then we're going to try to set the collision object type. Nope. From component. Yeah, now I'm able to pick up the rifle again, and that fixes the bug, but the reason why I don't do this is because I don't want the box to have collision. I don't want the box to have collision. The box that is used to represent the location of the weapon. Yeah. So I guess the best way to do this would be by setting it to be collision enabled. So as you can see, we have a huge box that is used to represent where the location of the weapon is going to be represented. So I think the best way to do this would be by refining this collision so that it fits the real location of the weapon. Maybe something like this and like this. So that this is still enough for the box trace to be able to detect the weapon. weapon. Oh, funny enough, now it's not working anymore. Collision enabled. Okay, works. Now if I try to pick up one more time, it doesn't work. I'm not sure why it is like that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to find out what this issue is about later, because as we're doing the process of, you know, just figuring out things together on the live stream, there are going to be some things that I'm not really going to understand now why it's not working. But I guess those things are going to be fixed on my own. I'm not going to do everything on live. Some things I need to really take some time to really understand and try to find out optional solutions for this bug. But as you can see, when you try to pick up the weapon in here, I set the same collision types for the box, but when I drop the weapon and then when I try to pick it up again, as you can see, it works. If I drop it again and try to pick it up again, it works again, and then it works again, and so on. But it doesn't have the same for the rifle. I don't know why. Doesn't. Oops, I have a bug there. If I spam the button F, it's going to glitch out, but we're gonna have to do some button spamming protection later. But that's fine. So as you can see, you can pick up the weapon when I drop the weapon, and if I try to press on F again, you're able to pick up the rifle again. I drop it again, but once you try to pick up the rifle again, it doesn't work. I'm just going to try to copy and paste the same box collision that we have on the pistol, and then I can paste that in there, and let's see if that solves the issue. Let me see if the box is going to have, I just need to make sure that the box has the same collision type. So as you can see on the pistol, it is all set to ignore. So I'm just going to set it to ignore as well. All right, I'm just test it out again. I'm just going to pick up the rifle, drop it, then try to pick it up again, drop it, pick it up again, and pick it up, picking it up again doesn't work. For some reason, it doesn't really work at all. And I don't really know what's the issue here. But let me just check if the skeletal mesh has almost the same collision settings as the skeletal mesh of the rifle. So we're going to compare the differences. So as you can see, all of them has the same collision. Only the pistol. So the pistol 1H, the skeletal mesh, has the weapon channel to block, and the M1 has the weapon channel to ignore. So I'm just going to set this. The foot placement channel is going to be false. We're going to compile save. Maybe that's the issue. I'm not sure, but this shouldn't be related to this. But anyways, let's just keep everything in place so that we're going to make sure that it doesn't affect. All right, so the pistol, for the rifle, we're going to set the same collision type, which is going to be query only. Maybe changing the location of the box collision. The box collision is going to also fix the issue. press on play. So let's just test it out to see if it works. Yeah, it doesn't work right now. So as you can see, it's nothing about setting the collision of the skeletal mesh, because it doesn't have anything to do with it. If you set the size of the box to be huge, let me just see if that's gonna solve the issue. Maybe the box is overlapping with the skeletal mesh and the trace is not being able to detect the collision of that box trace. As you can see, it works like this. So if I try to pick up the rifle, it's going to work. If I drop it. Oh, interesting enough. Oh, okay. All right, I think I understand now. When I drop, if I pick up the weapon, as you can see, the box is still there. But if I drop the weapon, the box disappears for some reason. So I have to figure out why it happens. I think different from the pistol, if I drop the pistol, the box does not disappear. Oh, okay. So, oh, all right. So the only one, the only one code that we need to fix this is on the event BeginPlay. So as you can see, the AttachComponentToComponent works by attaching the box to the skeletal mesh of the handgun in this case, right? So we basically need to do the same thing, but for the rifle. So this is a pretty important node that we need to consider for being able to drop the weapon and attach it for the second time. What version of Unreal Engine are you using? 5.5. 5.5.4. I'm not using 5.6 for now. Because I want to wait for like 1 month for to see if it's really stable. So if I see if it's really stable and people are talking about it that's stable, I think I'm going to move it to the 5.6 if it has the features that I want, that are useful for me. I think that's the best move I'm going to take from there. So I think that's the issue that we have. So let me just move this there, and the socket name is going to be, I'm gonna have to check it out to see which one it is. Root. So I'm just going to add it to the root. So the box is going to be attached to the root bone of this weapon here. Let me just see if there is a best. Yeah, I think the best place to add it is on the root, because if you move the skeletal mesh, you're going to move the whole skeletal mesh. But if you move something like the barrel, it's going to move apart from this rifle. So in case if you're working with attachable components, and if you want to for example, hypothetically take this barrel out, if you drop the weapon as this barrel is out, is not attached to it, there is not going to be, the box is not going to be attached to this barrel anymore. sorry, not going to be attached to this rifle anymore, but it's going to be attached only to the barrel. So we're going to have some bugs. So it's better to attach the box to the root of the skeletal mesh, because that's the root location of, it moves everything. So you always have to keep that in mind. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to the M4A1, which is the rifle, and type root. I'm not going to take too long on this one. And finally, we found a bug, which I'm pretty happy with the result. Now I can happily just get this to be at the size that I want. Firstly, I thought it was the size and the shape of the box collision of the box. The box collision box, but it was not. So I'm just going to play like over here and then set the query only. It's already in there. So I'm just going to play and I'm going to press F. And I'm just going to do the drop test. So if I press G, you can see it works. If I pick it up again, it works. If I press G. So as you can see now, when I press G, the box doesn't disappear as it was before. So the AttachComponentToComponent really works in this case, because it's going to attach the box to the root component, and it's going to make it so that the box does not fly off out of the skeletal mesh, which is going to solve our bug. How did you get this project to work? Because every time I try to use the locomotion thing, it never worked for me. How did you get this project to work? Because every time I try to use the locomotion thing. What locomotion thing? Do you mean the GASP locomotion? Use the locomotion thing. I love chat. I love chat. It's the best thing that's ever happened to this broken world, man. Without it, be stuck watching YouTube tutorials all day, and game companies won't share their blueprints. So at least chat will get their. I didn't understand at all. Only thing about chat through, man, is oh god, I can't read. I'll build a blueprint, but for someone like me who knows nothing about blueprints, it's hard for me to find or create the same one without some kind of how did you get this function? I'm having problems looking for it. What does an AI controller look like? The AI controller, I don't really know what it is for, but it's there. If you go to AI, if you go to the sandbox character, maybe in the class defaults, if you search for AI controller, yeah, if you go to the class default and AI controller, you're going to be able to see there. But I don't really know what this is for. Maybe it's just for AI. If you have like a custom AI controller, you can put that in there. You can change it. If you search for AI controller, you're not going to be able to find it. But it's there, so you can change it. All right, so let me just solve another bug that we have when you pick a pistol and then you try to pick up the other one. If you try to holster of the rifle, you pretty much have this bug here, which the weapon equips to the character's hand, and the rifle doesn't holster with the character, doesn't move to the character's back. So we're going to try to fix that right now. Firstly, what you need to do is get a socket for the spine 4. So what you're going to do is just add a new socket, as I've done in here, and then you're going to move the socket to the location that you want for the for the rifle to be at. So I'm just going to delete this because I don't want to have that, and I'm just going to add a preview asset to be called M4A1. Please don't crash. I think he crashed. Okay. The unscript said, yo, what's up? Yeah, I think he crashed, unfortunately. Did he crash or no? Maybe not. Okay, it didn't crash. Okay, good. So you're going to be able to, so all you need to do is just place the location of the rifle to the location that you want. And then here you can preview the animation to see how it's going to look like when you aim, for example, with the character. So I'm just do rifle aim, something like this, to see if, actually not the rifle aim, I want the walk or sprint to see how the character is going to look like when he's sprinting, or UFN sprint, like this one. So as you can see, I like this location. I think it matches with the character. Yeah, I think that's a good location. I just need to take the name of the spine for rifle, and then as soon as you holster, let me just see what's going on here. So when you pick up the weapon, and then we pick up the rifle again, and now if you press Q, the hasPistol1H in hand is going to be false, and then hasPistol1H holstered is going to be true. But we really need to consider the rifle as well. So we also have to check if the rifle is holstered. So we're going to check both of them. It's going to be right here. All right. Okay, so if the character has the pistol1H holstered, okay, let's just firstly check. Let's just firstly check if the character doesn't have the pistol1H in hands. Let's check if the character has the rifle in hands. And if it doesn't, we're going to check if the character has the pistol1H's holstered. Yeah, we're going to have to think about this, because think about organizing this better. But we're going to do it by steps. So if the character has the pistol1H that is holstered, but doesn't have the rifle that is holstered, and if it's false, then we can equip the pistol. Can can you play the game, please? Yeah, it's still in progress. Just doing the equip drop systems right now. And the rifle is already in place. The overlay layers are working well. We still need to do the shooting ability. So I think what's missing here is a custom event for holstering, for equipping and holstering the rifle instead of the pistol. Cool. Is this like PUBG? Yeah, it could be. It could look like PUBG, yes. But I'm sparring the locomotion systems. As a reference point, I'm using The Last of Us 2 and GTA 5 regarding the locomotion systems that they have implemented. Okay, I think to organize this better, I think we can make a macro. Because if I make a function, as we cannot create functions with play montages. If you get a play montage node in here, if you try to collapse this to a function, you're going to be able to see that collapsing to a function is failed. I don't really know why. Maybe it's because a function is really designed for executing at just one single frame, just one single time, right? We cannot have sort of delays while executing functions, but macros, you can use it for, it's like a function, but a macro, you can put montages into it. And it works. And you can also choose how much execution pins you want to have on the outputs. So that when you drag and drop the new macro that you've created in the graph, you're going to be able to see that we can add as many execution pins or as many output pins as you would like. And you can also add as many input execution pins or variables as you would like as well. So it's very much versatile on what you can do with macros. Macros are much more dynamic. And modular. Did the gun stay in his hand when he was climbing the ledge? You mean this? Yes, it stays on the hand of the character. I don't know if we could consider this as a bug, because the weapon glitches on the ground. In the ALS, we could solve this issue pretty much easily. If you have the rifle in the hand, we're going to just play and select a different overlay pose. That's not going to glitch the character, but in this case, the character, in the ALS, we just make the visibility of the rifle to be off. As soon as he gets on the top, we set the visibility back to be true, to be visible, and that's just how it goes. But it pretty much depends on what you want to achieve, things, and it pretty much depends on the project specific needs. And yeah, but if you're working on a studio, you can ask for the animators to make a pose that's going. Oh, that's a very big boost. You can ask the animators to animate the pose for when the character is going to mental walls, so that the rifle does not glitch on the walls or on the ground. Anubis Game Studio said, boa tarde, good. Boa tarde. Tudo bem? Will live... The live is going to be saved. Anubis Studio, do you know... how do you know I'm Brazilian? Because I ask Brazilians a lot this question. I don't know how they found out. They find out I'm Brazilian. All right, let me see. Okay, so I think I can come to a conclusion that we can create a macro which is going to facilitate and organize much better this code, and it's going to be easier for us. Fala português? Sim, eu falo português. Eu sou brasileiro. So I'm just going to go ahead and collapse this to a macro. All right. I'm going to call this macro. I'm going to call this macro to be holster pistol macro. And again, the reason why I'm not making a function, which could be a lot more organizable in here and a lot more visible, is because I have montages to be played in here, and in functions I cannot really put play montages nodes as this one into functions, and in the macros I can. So I'm just going to find where this customs events are called. So as you can see here, it's called in here. So I'm just going to switch the events in here. Que bom, te sigo faz tempo, parabéns pelos vídeos. Obrigado. Fico feliz por ajudar. And I'm just going to delete this one. Okay, now the next one we're going to be changing as well. All right, let's go to the next one. It's going to be, and remember to take this option to be true, because it is true right here. And as you can see, it requires a output execution pin in here on the macro. So I'm just going to go to the macro and add a new output execution pin in here. And this execution pin is going to be is going to be called through, because if you were, let me just see how it is like holster. Let me just see if it really needs a through execution type. Yeah. All right, I'm going to just call it through execution, which means it's going to just be executed at one time, once. And this is going to be, it's just going to go through right away. But then later we're going to have to refine this code a little bit better so that this delay here doesn't exist. Or maybe we could, I think a better way to approach this would be after the holster piece animation is completed. So if you can drag and drop the completed execution here, or the blend out, you can choose which one is better, but I'm going to just choose the completed. And the through execution here is going to be this one. So as soon as you execute, it's going to go through. But I think it's better for us to delete this delay and move this code instead of here. We can do, so as soon as the montage is completed, so as soon as the montage is completed, only then we can execute the branch. And then it's going to check if the character is alive, so that we can continue the execution. So the reason why I check if the character is alive, because in the time frame of, in the process of picking up the weapon, maybe the character, perhaps the character could be killed, or anything else could happen. Maybe he could fall off a cliff, fall off a ledge, and we don't know. So anything could happen. So you can have all the possible, you can think of all the possible things that could happen on the time frame of picking up the weapon, so that it don't cause any bugs in the process. All right, so I'm just going to check for the other holster pistol. I think we're pretty much done. We can just delete all of this, compile. Just make sure if you compile, you don't have any arrows in here, because if it shows that you have arrows, you're gonna have to check it out to see maybe it didn't, if you just delete the custom event, and if you already had called it somewhere else in the graph, you're going to have arrows, so you have to replace the references. But it's very much easy to do. This delay could be deleted from here. I don't like delays. They could pretty much cause bugs into your code if you don't manage them well. So I think the best option to do in here, as we attach the rifle. Oops, I think we had a bug there. I'll just see. The character plays the animation very fast. I don't know what's going on. Oh, okay. SE said, what is the difference between bend, you mean blend poses? Bend poses. Do you mean bend poses or blend poses versus adding separated animation like GASP ALS? What do you mean by adding separated animations? Do you mean the animations of the overlay state? Which animations do you mean? Separated animations. Do you mean these animations? Do you mean the overlay animations? What's the difference? No difference. No difference, I guess. I mean, in the GASP plus ALS, we have a layer blending, which is a complex layering system from the ALS originally. So we just picked up and just borrowed that layer blending from the ALS to the GASP system. And the result, as you can see, it's very good. We can have the aiming, we can have pretty much everything. And all of those is the complex layering system that Caleb did to the ALS. Now for the weapon pickups, I add the blend poses because I want to have full control of how the character is going to be able to play the picking up ability. So that's why I use the blend poses in this case. Você vai introduzir no GASP interação com animais também? Interactions with animals, maybe. I need to have a pretty good pack of animations. Yeah, I think this could be something that I could do in the future, yeah. I'm just going to copy and paste your comment to my Discord channel so that we can have interaction with animals as well. I can do the locomotion for sure, but I don't know about the AI. I think the AI could be pretty simple. We could set a location of, we could define a location of where the animal is going to be, the dog or a cat, or it could be like whatever animal you want to have, you could set a location to be right here on the right side of the character. We could do a pretty much simple locomotion system first to see if it's going to work, and then we can move on to make a more advanced one. And then we can make it to follow the character. Maybe we can make it also to attack the other enemies and take damage, stuff like that. It all depends on it all depends if it's really worth it to do it, if people are, if the demand is high. How does the swing mechanic? I follow a video from a native coder. We use bend poses instead of this overlay, and it works perfectly. Bend poses. Can you link me a video, because I don't know about this bend poses? Instead of this overlay, and it works perfectly. Well, I'm curious to see how it works, because each system has their own limitations, and maybe you want one thing that you can do that works perfectly in one system cannot be able to work on the other system, and vice versa. So maybe it's good to have both systems be available for us. How does the swing mechanics work in games? Which kind of swing mechanics? What kind of swinging? Swing? Do you mean the swing mechanics such as grappling? Or bar swings, like in the Assassin's Creed? The character's picking up the weapon really fast. I'm gonna have to solve this issue. Grappling. I have a YouTube channel, YouTube tutorial that teaches that. That teaches grappling. This one is pretty much basic, but it doesn't have the swing functionality with the grappling, but this could be a starting point maybe on how to set up the swing motion. But I don't know how to do it myself because I didn't do it yet. But that's the only video about grappling I've made so far. Foot correction. Foot. Okay, so I think what we're talking about is this delay here to match the weapon pickup animation duration, right? So for this one, we could set a value such as 1.3 maybe to match the duration of the animation. If we set it to be too short, probably you're going to cause some bugs. So you have to really pay attention to that. But in my opinion, having a custom event to do this would be much better. And plugging this directly into here would work the best. So as soon as you pick up the rifle, which is run by this custom event here, so as soon as the animation of picking up the weapon is played, depending on which weapon you're picking up, we are going to execute this code in here. We're gonna have the delay. We're going to set this delay to be 5 milliseconds, and of course we're going to check if the character is still alive. And then after that, we're going to stop the pickup play animation, which is going to stop this animation in here. So as you can see, when you press on play, as soon as you play the pickup animation, this boolean is going to be true, which is going to then execute the state machine in here. So as soon as you press play, as you can see, that changes, and then that changes back because this boolean is going to be false. And depending on, you can choose how fast the pickup animation is going to be played. So you can choose it in here. So I want the duration to be 0.3. I want the pickup animation to last on the character 3 milliseconds after the character actually attaches the weapon in his hands. So as soon as I press play, it's going to wait. As soon as the weapon is attached to the character's hand, I'm going to wait 3 milliseconds to make the animation to last a little bit longer. I think 4 would work best in this case. So let's see. No, let's type 3. You can also control how much the animation is going to blend in here. You can choose the true and false blend time. So that's going to basically define how long it is going to take for the character to blend in or out of the weapon pickup animation. And you can also select the curve in here. I like to choose the Hermite cubic in out. Let me just do linear to see if that's gonna make any better. It's gonna be any better. Let's drop it. All right. As you can notice, the arms of the character, the left arm of the character is not in place yet, but we're going to find out a solution for this later in the future. And we're also going to do the same for in here. So we're going to select 3 seconds. We're also going to switch the, well, let me just see what, okay, just delete this. The character's alive. I'll just move this a little bit further away and connect this into here. Strangely enough, we don't have the character has the pistol check. In this case, it would be for attaching the pistol, we're going to check if the character has a rifle in his hand. So rifle, has rifle in hand. So we're going to switch the boolean. We're also going to yeah, I don't know yet. Let me just see if all right, I guess that's going to be it for the stream. I'm gonna have to have lunch right now. But that's going to be pretty much the result that we're going to have for today. And in the next tutorial, we're going to be talking about how we can fix and organize this code a little bit better. And later, we're going to add the master class for all the weapons as I've planned earlier. And refine the code. And we're also going to create a master class for the weapons. And then finally, we're going to add the bow overlay. All right, so I think that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new.